in a cat and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. You gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G-Loomis rod. I bet you like what you feel. Step on the deck, give it a whirl. Hello, welcome to my world.
What's up, everybody out YouTube and Facebook Live? Sorry, I got thank God for that mute button. What's up, Jeremy? What's up, buddy? How you doing tonight? Let me hop on Facebook here, share this thing out. All right, got her shared out. So, yeah, thank you, Jeremy. Camera's not wanting to focus really well this evening, so I'll stay here in the middle. How about that? I'll show you, camera. I'll show you. Man, I am all clustered tonight. I was upstairs, just got in cutting grass and was feeding my face. What's up, Dave Wells? How you doing, buddy? And realized that I knew I was going to do a show tonight because it's Tuesday, and then realized it was 8:25 and I was still feeding my fat face. I had some air fried pork chops. If you guys have never tried that, Zane Boggs, he's a Zaniac, Zane Boggs. What's up, buddy? Anyway, had some air fried pork chops. If you guys never had air fried pork chops in an air fryer, obviously, definitely try that out. It's awesome. David, me too, man. It was a long road, but again, so far everything's good. I'm going to go out and try to fish some this weekend. Might go out and fish the Wednesday nighter at Little Sandy tomorrow. Hard to tell, depending on the weather. But everything seems to be going good. Misty and I took it out on Sunday to Grayson. We had a terrible day at Grayson. Caught one short fish all day, but hey, that's fishing, not catching. But my boat did well, so I'm with you. I'm glad I got my boat back. Everything's good. And again, I'm not going to talk about it much more, but State Farm Insurance Agency really hooked me up. It could be due to COVID. I don't know. It's the only insurance claim I've ever had in my entire life. So it was very, I called them within a week. I had my money, got it fixed. Everything's good. What lake you fishing, Jeremy, on this Saturday? This week, again, Misty and I went out Sunday, caught some fish. Well, I caught one, had a couple short fish strike or short strike it come off of the boat. Misty had one on a Perfect Plastics, so KVD rodent, and they caught it come off of the boat. Is that Darbin or Darbon? Darbani? Who knows? Darbin. We're gonna call Lake Darbin. Hope you get out there and smash her, man. Went out again, caught some fish. Didn't have the greatest day. Last week, you guys saw the Dink Fest 2021 video that was up on my YouTube channel. I caught 8 short ones in a short amount of time out there. Overcast, as you guys know, overcast days or low pressure days seem to be are better for fish. They just seem to bite better. Oh wow, Louisiana down there with the crawfish. Which, by the way, I had crawfish for the first time in my life in Alabama. I guess it was this past classic. It was in March, I guess, of 2020, right before COVID decided it wanted to kick everybody's rear end. Absolutely fantabulous, man. I loved it, every second of it. But went out, caught some fish on last Sunday. It was up on my YouTube channel. Seems to be doing good. YouTube update right now. I'm chugging along. Right now, working with, I'm getting ready to call Drew Sadler tomorrow, try to work with Shimano to do a huge giveaway for my channel. 4,000 subs is what I'm going for this year. I'm potentially going to give away a G-Loomis NRX. One of my favorite rods on the planet right now is a G-Loomis 894C JWR, which is a flipping and pitching machine. $575 rod. I'm working right now to give that thing away to boost my subscribers to 4,000 for the year. Hey, man, 11-8 in a tournament around here. I'll take that every day and twice on Sunday. Louisiana is probably a little different, but 11-pound, you win. If you have 11-pound in my area, you're winning 95% of all the tournaments you fish in my area. That's for sure. No, Mark, I don't, man. I don't. I commented the other day on your post, man. You said you needed somebody to throw down on a logo or something for you. I'm pretty good at that. I mean, I don't know what we call your boat, but I could think of something. Anyway, it's been a really interesting week here as far as weather goes in Ohio. Barometric pressure. No, man, Jeremy, trust me. 11, like I said, 11-pound around this area is huge bags. That's because 5-6 pounds usually win it. If you have 5 keeper fish, which are 12 inches or bigger here, especially on the Ohio River, you've done something. Fish seems to be biting a little bit better. Got a tournament coming up this weekend. Actually, you guys heard me talk about it last weekend. I'm not fishing it, but there's a Boy Scout tournament. I think it's 7-2 out of the Little Sandy Ramp on the Ohio River there in Greenup, Kentucky on Saturday. Lewis County Lunkers are fishing there on Sunday. That's what tournament I'm going to go hit just to have some fun before that. Water level right now is up into the 38, 39 feet range. 20 or about 29, 30-ish is normal pool. So it's 7-8 foot high right now. It's going to crest on Friday at 39 feet and be coming back down on Sunday or Saturday into Sunday. Sunday is supposed to be down to like 36 feet, which is 6 foot above normal pool, but I can handle that. Man, this is a kid's show, Mark, but I have the name. I have the name. I'll text it to you later. I can't drop that here, all the knowledge, because there's kids watching, but I'll get you on that. This weekend coming up, I'm headed to Lake St. Clair. Not this weekend. We're fishing that tournament. Like I said, Sunday's Mother's Day. Wow, man. First off, that's impressive that there was only 3 boats out there on Yatesville. Man, it gets absolutely hammered. Yatesville right now should look absolutely stupendous. I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. I'm going to fish somewhere, obviously. But next weekend, which would be the 14th. We're leaving the 14th. We're going to be up to the 15th and 16th. We're going back to St. Clair, and we're going to hopefully smash them. Hey, Warren. Sandy's starting to clear up. Should be good by the weekend. That's what I like to hear, man. I think we're supposed to get some more rain tomorrow. It shouldn't affect it too much. It's not going to get up into flood stage here. Hopefully, all the rain and stuff we've had this year kind of mellows that thing out. Yes, sir, Corey. I appreciate it, man. It looks like you've been hammering them too. By the way, guys, really excited to announce. I've been announcing in the past couple shows why I have it here on my desk. You guys are not going to be able to read this because it's just the way it is. JB's Fish Sauce has come out with a new product. They've had JB's Jelly for a while. They've had like Kyler Beckman, who is an absolute hammer when it comes to catching big slab crappies. He's got his own signature blend of jelly. I think it's called Waxworm Jelly. But this is Pinch of Garlic JB's Jelly. Comes in a 1 ounce tube here, 1 ounce container. Kind of looks like chapstick. The consistency, it's not like jelly, it's not like the Schmucker's jelly that we eat, but it does have a really nice consistency to it. You can actually see the product on the bait, which is something that I've had a lot of people talk to me about. Hey, I like to use this product, but how often should I apply it? And how do I know I'm getting it on the right parts of the bait where I want it? That solves your question. And again, if you guys are interested in that, jbsfishsauce.com. If you use the code OALL, that's the letter O, not zero, OALL 20, save 20% off on the website. That's pretty much anything on there. Anything that you see that's pincho garlic scented or flavored, if you will, is my signature blend. I've been doing some really good stuff with it. Had some really big fish this year so far. Caught the third biggest bass I've ever caught in my life. It was right at 6 pounds over the spring break there, and it was it works great, guys. I would definitely take a look at that. I was up at the tackle box today talking to Greg Drown. First off, guys, if you've never been to the tackle box in South Point, Ohio, do yourself a favor if you're ever through the area. It's one of the nicest tackle shops you've ever seen. I used to say if they don't have it, you don't need it. But now with COVID and all the supply chains crazy going on, if they don't have it, you're probably not going to find it. Mark, you think you can like throw me in your like carry-on gear or something? I mean, I only weigh like 210 pounds, dude. Like you can pack me, I think. I mean, I'll go fishing and you can do whatever. So Warren, that's a very good point, man. Obviously, South Point is a decent drive from a lot of people, especially if you're down around Sandy or down around Greenup and things. But it's so much nicer of a store where he has it now. It's better for business, I think. It was a good business decision for him, but I'm with you. I wish it was down by Big Lots in Ireton. But again, we are fishing a tournament this coming weekend on Mother's Day. On Sunday, a buddy of mine and I, and we're going to go out and try to catch them. Well, the river's going to be up, but that's okay. But we're going to talk about today some of my the most productive bass fishing techniques that I have ever used in my life. And number one on that list has got to be a Texas rig. A Texas rig is far and beyond something that I have the absolute most confidence in of any bass bait on the planet. And the reason that is because of the versatility of it. You can literally go from using a 2.5-inch creature style bait or a crawl style bait. And if they're not hitting that, use the same rig to put a 10-inch old monster worm or something on there and throw the exact same rig. It's weedless, depending on how you hook it. I have recently been, when I say recently, within the last 3 years, and, I don't know. I started fishing tungsten more than lead. I pour my own lead sinkers and stuff. Like, this is a football jig that doesn't have a skirt or anything on it. But I pour my own stuff in the summertime or in the wintertime. It gives me something to do. Tungsten makes a huge difference. Let's see here. Jeremy, that's the thing, man. Live videos for me just don't do very well. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I don't have any kind of like pros or anything on my show. I try to keep it local and try to keep it about us as far as non-pros. Let's face it, pros can catch fish. We know that. But I don't know, man. I have a goal of 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I'm slowly picking that up right now. It's going to be, I'm going to hop over on YouTube and make sure this is true because I don't want to lie to you guys because I only like to lie to you guys when I'm fishing tournaments. That was a joke. Or was it? Maybe. My internet will decide it wants to go somewhere. $2,684 subscribers. Right now I'm getting about 20,000 views a month, which I'm happy with. Like, I feel like that's a lot for my caliber of fishing content. 78 subscribers this month, the past 28 days. At this rate, let's just do a little bit of math here and figure out when this is going to happen. So right now I have 2,684. That leaves me 1,316 subscribers to get by the end of this year. And if I'm getting roughly 80 a month, I'll hit my 4,000 subscriber goal in 16 and a half months. Daniel Denning, the bait den in the house. What's up, buddy? Dude, you guys saw me talking about a custom painted crankbait that I had Daniel paint for me last year. We struck up a partnership through Instagram. He painted some baits for me. phenomenally painted baits. The bait blanks are phenomenal. The ones I've bought off of him, the 1.5 stuff is all I can speak for, but I'm sure they're all the same. Check him out, the Bait Den, on Instagram, Facebook, and you can add him straight on Facebook. Fred Redfern, what's up, buddy? Glad to have you in the house tonight. Talking fishing. We're talking tonight the most, I would say, the baits or the rigs that are the most efficient in catching fish just because they work, in my opinion. So, Jeremy, that's the thing, man. Like, YouTube kind of hosed us all up. It kind of got to that point where we wanted to, everybody, if you guys aren't aware how YouTube used to work, it used to be every video you put on YouTube, you got paid monetarily for every view that was on there and for every ad that ran on your videos. Well, I think it's whichever one is not fighting MMA right now. I think that's Logan. I think that's Jake Paul. Logan Paul, I think his brother. They're both huge YouTubers. He made this video, from what I understand. I didn't see the video. He went into the Japanese forest called the Suicide Forest, walked in on a dead body, filmed this thing, created this really, really crazy YouTube video, left the scene, didn't report it to any authorities, didn't call the cops, didn't do anything, hopped on a plane, jetted back to the United States, and then it turned into an international manhunt because he posted this video on YouTube, and it got like 20 million views in like 24 hours. So the guy just got rich off of this thing. But since then, YouTube has put a cap on it that you have to have, I think, 1,000 hours of watch time per year. Oh, no, 4,000 hours of watch time per year and 1,000 subscribers before they'll monetize your videos. So, people that are just getting into the game as far as YouTubers, that 1,000 subscriber mark is big, especially if you're trying to make money up front. Larry Slack, what's up, buddy? Appreciate you joining in. Same Boggs, great question. When is the best time to fish? Depends on what species you're after. In my opinion, if you're talking about bass fishing or a lot of any other species of fish, I think low pressure days with cloud cover and things like that. So I was trying to explain to Misty the other day about the difference between high pressure, high barometric pressure, and low barometric pressure days, and how you could tell the difference just by looking in the clouds. And I used the analogy of a 2-liter pop bottle, and it's a physics problem here, I'm sure of it, but it is the change in pressure of a 2-liter bottle. So if you take a 2-liter bottle and you just get it out of the refrigerator or whatever, maybe it's lukewarm or whatever, when you pop the tab of that thing, or when you crack the seal and that gas, that CO2 releases out of that bottle, you automatically see moisture condensating on top of that bottle. So that is a low pressure situation, and it's creating moisture. So it's the same deal in the world. If you have a low pressure day, it allows for moisture and stuff to generate more in the atmosphere, and you will get rain or overcast days. Whereas a really high pressure or high barometric pressure day, you're going to have really, really bright bluebird skies, and the difference between those two is night and day compared to fish catches. Best time to fish, in my opinion, is literally during days where it's overcast. It may be raining. It's not something that you want to go out there. You feel, kind of pressured to go out there to fish because it's terrible weather. But in my opinion, those are going to be the conditions. Best time as far as time of day, definitely the first hour of the day and the last hour before it gets dark are the prime opportunities to catch pretty much any species. No problem, Daniel. Yeah, I need to get a hold of you because I'm going to have you paint up some more of those baits for me. I can't find them anywhere, and they absolutely crush them, so I'll get with you here in a day or so. Fred, you're right. Texas rig, a worm is my number one, too. We were just talking about it there. It's something that allows, because it's so versatile, right? So you could throw, like you said, like I was saying earlier, you could throw a Zoom speed crawl with a 3/16 ounce tungsten slip sinker. Another thing is that, I always do what's known as, don't Google this, everybody, but pegging my sinker. So you definitely don't want to Google that. Trust me. Just trust me. I know from experience. But so we have, we're just going to use this as the Texas rig and the Texas rig hook. So normally I put a bobber stop on the upside of my sinker. That way the sinker isn't free flowing on the line. And the reason that is because if you think about it, if you have the sinker and it's right next to your bait and this is a twig and your bait comes up to this, your sinker is going to want to fall off of that. And what that's going to do is going to change the point of your hook to go down, and you're going to get hung up a ton, even if you have it rigged weedless. So for me, putting a bobber stop or something to cause that, a lot of people use like wooden toothpicks. I don't like that idea as well because I feel like that even wood can fray your line and cause a break off. But having that bobber stop, and this is back before COVID. Shoot, who knows? I might have started it, but I bought 1,000 bobber stops from Wish for like $3, shipped to my house. Still using them today. They work great. Definitely number one for me. So Jeremy, it's really not. Once you get a few subscribers, again, I'm not huge on YouTube by any means. I'm 2,684 subscribers, but in the last 28 days, I have 1.4 thousand hours of watch time in this last month. So it's not a ton. If I look at my last 365 days, I'm at almost 14,000 hours of watch time. So that's really not. Ricky, you're right, buddy. Every day it's a fun time to fish anyway. It's better than sitting on the couch or being at work, that's for sure. Josh Maynard, man, this is like fifth period reunion. Thanks for joining in, guys. Do you believe in moon cycles overhead, underfoot, and so on? Man, this time of year I do. I feel like that when that water temperature gets into that the magical 60-degree range, and you get that full moon, then the fish are going to be moving up to start spawning. Other than that, I don't get into it enough. I'm not a pro by any means. I'm sure there's people out there that will tell me I'm absolutely crazy for not saying that. But if I am fishing or if I'm planning a fishing trip, I never, ever look at the moon phase unless, well, I won't look at it beforehand. If I'm driving to the lake and I see a giant full moon and it's midsummer, here's what I think about that. I see a big giant full moon. I see that they're going to have more light in the water to feed consistently for a 24-hour period. So, that first and last hour of the day may not be the hot ticket, because they've maybe fed all night. But I don't look at that stuff in advance. However, I will go back on the Angler app and look at moon phase and look at barometric pressure and things like that in hindsight. But I don't, unless it's spawn right now, I'm looking for that full moon coming up. Which, by the way, let's just take a look at that really quick. Water temperature at Grayson last week was 61, 62 degrees. So we're in that prime area there. I'm trying to figure out right here when the next full moon will be April 20. So April 26th was just, man, I don't know. Maybe a little off this year. April 26th was a full moon. And then May 26th. So I think that's a little late, to be honest with you. But that's the only time I look at it. Yeah, Jeremy, 100%. And that's my biggest thing is right now, this week I don't have a video other than this. I got another one coming out tomorrow. My goal is this summer when I'm off work to do 3 videos a week. Do a short tip video or tricks or something that I found that helps me out. Do a live video just like this and do a full-fledged production of a fishing trip. That's my goal, and that's my timeline after May. So June, July, August, September. I'm hoping to have 3 videos a week. And the more you can get out there, better chance people see you. What's up, John? Thanks for joining in, man. Appreciate you coming in. So that makes sense, man. That's what I was saying. I feel like that if you have a big full moon, you got to have a better chance of throwing different baits to catch them at night. So we kind of talked about this question earlier, and I did. Dusty and I did, and I told her to ask it because, or I told him to have Terry Lee ask it because it's something that I want to get your guys' opinion on. She said, Dusty and I have noticed on many of the lakes we fish, the number of gar has increased. Kind of seems like the coves and creeks they were present, the bass bite has slowed down. Do you think the increasing number of gar has any effect on the bass fishing? So, I've had a little bit of time, a couple hours to think about this question. And I don't know that I've ever caught a fish, a largemouth or any kind of black bass species where I've caught a gar. And I don't know if that's because these things are running the bass out of there. The bass know that they're predators and they leave, or if gar are just that much more aggressive than a largemouth or a smallmouth or a spotted bass. First and foremost, gar, I could be totally wrong on this, but I think they have lungs, right? Don't they breathe air? I could be way off track there. I don't know. I'm not a marine biologist, but I want to think that gar breathe, obviously all fish breathe air, but then instead of having gills and get it from the water, they actually have to come up and kind of like gulp it down. That's why you see them coming up on top of the water all the time. But they always station themselves high in the water column. So you can cast any bait you want, and what it's going to do, it's going to get to that section of the water column before any other fish, especially in the summertime or getting there now. What happens is that I feel like the bass are going to be suspended lower in the water column. And when you throw that, those gar are just that much more aggressive that they are going to eat that bait before it gets down. I do know that I have been guilty of catching gar and leaving the area. I don't know why I've done that. Maybe I feel like that's the reason. Maybe I feel like that fish aren't as, that they're running the bass out, or the bass is not going to be there. What are your guys' thoughts? I got you, Jeremy. Holler at me, man. We'll hop on live one day. We'll have some fun. Got a question here. He says, I catch bass under gar fishing lights at night. So there's your answer. I don't think that they are running the fish off. But again, I think it has a lot to do with where gar are stationed in the water column. And that's going to be 100%, unless it's real early in the morning and bass are feeding top water, they're always going to be lower in the water column than a gar is going to be. I'm really impressed about how aggressive alligator gar can be, because they will eat absolutely anything, from a Texas rig to a crankbait, spinner bait, you name it, they will absolutely chew it. Speaking back to baits here, number one again on my most versatile list, something that I feel like catches the most bass is going to be a Texas rig for me, again because it's versatile. I could throw a crawl on there, I could throw a worm, I could throw a trick worm, I could throw something real small like even a Ned Rig worm, something really tiny. Maybe I'm going to throw a giant worm. Maybe I'm going to throw a 12-inch old monster or something like that. And second for me, that absolutely catch fish any given time is definitely going to be a Ned Rig. It's something I've just learned about in the past 3 to 5 years. I feel like it's a fairly new technique on the market, but if I'm going to go out and I want to get bit, it's going to be, so let's say Ned Rig, and we'll also say a wacky rig. We'll kind of combine those two, a Ned Rig or a wacky rig. If I want to go out and I want to make sure I'm catching fish, or I want somebody in my boat to catch a fish, I will either throw on a wacky rig or a Ned Rig, one of the two, because they're going to get bit. They just catch a lot more fish. One, because it's a more finesse technique, and we've talked about it on my show before, guys. I don't know what it imitates. Have no clue. It looks like a big pile of goose poop to me. I don't know what a Ned Rig looks like. And I was just told the other day, it might have been one of you guys out there, I'm not sure, that I was just told the other day that a Ned Rig worm doesn't actually float, whereas all of the other all the other Z-Man stuff does. I was under the impression it floated from the head was at the bottom of the lake or river where you're fishing, and it floated off the water or off the bottom. Apparently that's not true. I'll have to do a video to test that out. Cinco is a very good one. But if I'm throwing a Cinco, I'm probably going to Texas rig it, or wacky rig it. I like throwing a 4-inch Yum Dinger, or a Gary Yamamoto, whatever I have. I like Yum Dingers because the price is cheaper. You can get a whole bag of them for like $2.99 as opposed to Yamamotos, which are $7. And I feel like that they catch, especially the 4-inch, catch just as many. Let's see. Yeah, man, I'm with you. There's so much to choose from, especially when you talk about that style of bait. My favorite is a Zoom speed crawl. I also love a Jackal chunk crawl. I just like 3.5-inch roughly on those things. Matter of fact, I caught that 6-pounder this summer or this spring on a Jackal chunk crawl. Yeah, big bite baits make good stuff. Pouring your own, that's something I want to get into, but I just never have. I have a couple buddies that are getting into it. Stephen Chase, my buddy from Nashville, he's getting into it. Just bought an absolute crazy amount of things. There we go. Sorry, had some technical difficulties there. Don't forget the fluke. You are 100% true. That's one bait that I absolutely know catches fish that I don't throw. I have them on my boat, but there are baits that I would much rather throw. If I would throw a fluke in a situation, I would throw a Texas like a wacky rig. I think I would rather throw a wacky rig than a fluke. However, I know a fluke catches fish, and that's the crazy thing about it. I've said it a million times, guys. Baits catch more fishermen than they do fish. I want to do a video this summer of going out and fishing old school baits. Like I want to go buy a Kelly's Firetail. I want to get a jitterbug. I want to get an old school, like a standard jointed Rapala or Rapala, if you will. Texas rig. I want to fish old school baits and see see if I can still catch fish on them. No, I can. I know I can. We can. It's just all about the new, biggest, best thing. And we're like, wow, that looks just like the crawdad that I saw in the creek a minute ago. I'm buying that. Whether the fish is going to eat it or not, we're buying it anyway. What's up, Mr. Garrett? What's up, buddy? Yep. So you're exactly right. So Yamamoto do have more salt content in them, and they are a little heavier. However, if I'm throwing a wacky rig, I always throw a weighted wacky rig. I always throw like a 16th ounce tungsten Jackal head. So you're 100% right on that. If I'm going to throw a weightless wacky rig, I would rather throw the Yamamotos because they're going to sink a little faster. But in my case, I always throw a weighted weedless wacky head. So it's kind of whichever one I want to throw at that point. I like the Yum Dingers, the small Yum Dingers, a 4-inch Yum Dingers, and I really like the ones that have the chartreuse tips on them. No matter what color they are, I like the chartreuse tips, especially when they're wacky rigged. But you guys already know, if you watch my channel, you follow me, my absolute go-to bait on a wacky style rig is going to be a Jackal Flick Shake in 4-inch, 4.8-inch Jackal Flick Shake in Cola Collar. It is absolutely fire when it comes to that, man. It is phenomenal. It looks like a little small red worm, and they absolutely chew it. Next for me, as far as most fish catches, again, so Texas rig is 1. 2 is going to be some sort of Ned Rig / wacky rig. 3rd for me is going to be most versatile at catching fish is going to be a shaky head. I like fishing a shaky head on a spinning rod. I have it right now on a, let's see, so I fished it last weekend and I changed it actually. I usually throw it on a, let's see, an 852 SJWR NRX. I really like that rod for that technique. I wanted to try something new on my NRX. I wanted to throw a Ned rig on it to see if it would handle it. So I changed my shaky head to a 7'3" medium heavy Zodius spinning rod with a Stratic CI4 and phenomenal rig. as you guys know, I fish braid on all my spinning rods, braid to at least an 8-pound leader. Most I'll go is 12-pound. Sunline FC Sniper. I just switched down to 15-pound Power Pro Super Slick V2 in moonshine color. This stuff is super, super bright. You guys are not going to get the full effect of it on the camera lights here, but it is absolutely phenomenally bright. They discontinued high vis yellow, and I was destroyed. I hated it. I was like, because I had it on every one of my rods. Absolutely love it. They discontinued high vis yellow. I hated that, but they come out quickly with the moonshine color, which, by the way, will glow under a black light. For those of you guys that said you're fishing at night, check out that Power Pro Super Slick V2 in moonshine. But again, that shaky head, I do fish it on a 7.3 medium heavy Zodius. I've thrown it on my 6.11 medium heavy Poison Adrena. Phenomenal deal. I also have just now picked up, I actually just got it in the mail the other day. I ordered it in October. But I've got a 3000 series Shimano Vanford spinning reel in. Hard to believe that they're that much better than the Stradic CI4 for the money, but they are. I also am going to have some Stradics available for sale coming up soon. Way cheaper than you're going to be able to buy them in the store, and they're not hurt. So keep watching my pages for those if you're interested. I will ship them if you are going to pay the shipping. So it depends on how many I sell or how many you want to buy. I'll have 6 of them for sale very soon. As soon as the Vanfords come into where I can get my hands on them more readily accessible. $229 is the price point on those reels. Probably take like $140 for them. They're all about a year and a half old. They all do have line on them. They have Power Pro Super Slick on them, so that's about another $25-$30 there. So speaking of which, let's talk about something really quick that I was taught by Drew Sadler from Shimano, and it's something that I should have known or should have thought about, but I never have. And maybe this may help you guys out too. So you go out and you buy a brand new spool of Power Pro or whatever line you fish as far as braid. You spool it. You're going to put backer on. Obviously, you're going to do that on every rod. So some kind of monofilament, something cheap. I wouldn't recommend going out and buying, a 1,000-yard spool of Sunline FC Sniper to put it on the back of your reels, because it's just a waste of money. Pick up a $5-6 spool of mono, cheapest you can get. It's not going to matter. Spool that on your spool first. You're going to spool your braid on, and then you're going to tie a leader on, or you're going to tie, directly to your bait if you're throwing topwater or whatever. But I'll fish this stuff forever. It takes an absolute act of Congress to break braid. Well, I was thinking about, hey, I told Drew one day, I was like, I'm going to have to buy some more Power Pro this year. I need to reline all my reels. But he said, have you swapped the line? So what are you talking about? He said, well, it goes without saying that you should have thought about this, and I should have too, and somebody taught me this, but he literally just takes the line off of one reel and spools it on and reels it up into another spool of another rod. So like take one spinning rod and take the line off of one and just reel it over into the other. So what you're doing is you're taking the used end or the used side of that braid and putting it on the inside of that spool and using the backside of it, which is going to be 100% brand new. Quick tip, help me out getting double the life or double the use out of my braid, and also keeps the collar a lot better for me in the long run. Andrew Six, what's up, buddy? How was the Georgia fishing? Hopefully you smashed him down there. So that's a really good tip. Like I said, just changing the braid over, and it's easy to do. Put some backer on the spool of the reel, go through the guides, tie it on just like you normally would, and spin it on to your other reel, and you're going to get double the use out of that, double the life. It gives you, you're getting a brand new spool of line. You get it, use the most out of it. Because again, if you guys are anything like me, I don't know, I can't speak for any other braid types other than Power Pro because that's all I've ever used. But, well, I can't say that. I used spider wire back in the day. I think that was the only braid that was actually even available. But normally, it's years. Like I'll use the same braid on a spinning rod for like 2 or 3 years, and even longer than that. I change it because the collar gets faded, and that's stupid. because whatever. But I do change my braid a lot. But now this gives me double the opportunity to use the same amount of braid, and it also allows you to, save money. You're using half the amount of money also. So hopefully that guys helps you out there, and you guys can save some dough. I just about smashed my face with my pop filter here. So we're getting into that nitty gritty time where those little big fat baby female bass are going to be up, rubbing their bellies together, trying to make a nest. Headed to St. Clair next weekend. I feel like those fish up there are going to be feeding up to actually get on the nest soon. Usually it happens mid-June for them up there too. End of June, end of May, mid-May, end of May, 1st of June. We're going to go up and see if we can catch some here in a little bit. Smallmouth. I'm going to try it again. If you watched the episode that I was talking about St. Clair a few weeks ago, Kyle and I caught a decent amount of fish. We didn't crush them. Bradley Saunders and his buddy absolutely smashed them. They wore us out. After talking to him and watching videos of us, we were just fishing too fast. We should have caught him. We were in the spot. Bradley Saunders was nice enough to share his location. Went there, couldn't catch him. We're going back for revenge. We had 18-pound both days, which is nothing to sneeze at. But Bradley and his buddy were catching 26 to 28 pounds a day. That is a huge difference in 5 fish. Hey, man, 3-pounders are better than nothing. Hey, Herb, what's up, buddy? Man, I thought I could have swore I saw you at Grayson the other day. I don't know if it was you or not. If I saw you and you were fishing Bruin Creek, I don't know if that was you or not. But if it was you and I didn't come over and talk to you, it wasn't because I didn't want to talk to you. I just didn't know if that was you or not. So probably was or wasn't you. But if it was you, don't think I was snotty and didn't come and talk to you. Looked like your boat. Could have been totally wrong. So, yeah, I mean, the water temperature right now, I don't know. Like I said, Grayson was 62 degrees when I left the other day. It was 50-something. I think it was 53, 54 when I was there last Sunday, 2 Sundays ago. It was 61, 62 when I was there this time. Bluebird, high-pressure day. Didn't catch many fish. But I was up in really, really shallow water just looking for beds this past weekend. I never saw any at Grayson. However, Rocky is a lot shallower of a lake as a whole compared to compared to Grayson. So they could potentially be catching them there. I don't see that being unheard of at all. This is my least favorite time to fish for largemouth, and that's weird. Most people think that they want to go out and catch them on the bed. I would much rather catch them in techniques that I'm throwing a spinner bait, buzz bait, something like that. I hate pulling up on a bed and sitting there for 20 minutes trying to catch this fish off a bed. If I'm tournament fishing, sure, 90% of the time right now I'm pleasure fishing, going out just try to catch some fish and make a YouTube video. I don't know. I don't like going in there beating them up on the beds, but I will. If I'm fishing a tournament and I see a big one, I'm going to try to catch it. It's hard to say. Yeah, I remember talking to you there a month or so ago or seeing you, but I'm glad I didn't come up and talk to you then, because if that wasn't you, I think it would have looked like an idiot. Fishing, like I said, this is the time of year everybody catches absolute monsters, especially on the bed. The Lake Fork showed out the other day, man. It was crazy. Like Livesey smoked them on a freaking bone white spook. Like, that is what I am talking about. That is my style of fishing. The dude caught some absolute swamp donkeys on a bone white spook on Lake Fork and absolutely crushed the field. That is definitely on a bucket list for me. Excuse me. Lake St. Clair was a bucket list lake, and now I'm there like 4 times a year at least. I think Dusty and I are going to try to go out and we're going to go out and try to catch them on Lake Fork next year. Get a guide, go out there and try to catch it. Check that bucket list, or that lake off the bucket list there in Texas. My goal is to catch a fish in every state in the United States that offers black bass species, including Hawaii, if they have black bass species. And I will take whatever I can get. A peacock bass. I want to try to catch a bass of sorts in all 50 states. And I'm going to build a wall as soon as lumber goes back down. I'm not going to do it right now. It cost me $9,000, but I'm going to build a wall size map. And that wall size map, I'm going to pin the photos of the biggest fish I've caught from those lakes or from those states. That's a goal of mine. I'm going to add a new state this year to my list. Right now, I'm at, Canada obviously is not a state, it's a country, but I've caught fish in Canada. I've caught fish in Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. Let's see, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama. My goal this year is to add Florida. Yeah, Fred, I'm the same. Around here, I do. But if I'm at St. Clair, I'm usually at St. Clair and they're on the bed, and I hate that. But I will go catch a smallmouth on a bed. I'm not too proud to admit it, especially because I don't live up there and there's a billion of them in that lake. But if I see a giant largemouth sitting on a bed, I'm not going to sit there and try to catch it. It's kind of counterintuitive what I said. If I was fishing a tournament, I would catch them off the bed, which is what I shouldn't be doing, really. If I want to keep up with the catches as far as the amount of fish that I can catch later in years, because what I'm doing is I'm taking a nesting fish off of a bed, traveling miles to a weigh-in and dumping it off at the bank where I'm weighing the fish at, and that fish is not going to get back to that nest. If the eggs are already there and fertilized, then the male will probably keep them until they hatch or keep them, safe. But I get it. I'm that way. I try not to catch them, but if I do in a tournament, I don't go bed fishing, but I know people can catch them, and that's how they win tournaments. Peacock bass, mine too. They're in Florida. But like I said, this year, Misty and I always travel to Florida. That's her spot. She wants to go to Florida all the time, which I'm kind of like liking it more and more as I go down there, especially because we don't go into like hustly and bustly like touristy areas. We go to St. Petersburg Beach and spend a lot of time there. We spend anywhere from 7 to 10 days there, depending on what we're at, in a condo right on the beach. This year, I am going to attempt to get with my buddy he lives down there, Ron Hearn. He has a really cool thing. And I guess it exists everywhere in the United States. I don't know what it's called, to be honest with you, but there's it's like a rental system for boats. And it's like a boat club, I think is what it is, but it's nationwide. And if you are a member of this boat club, and let's just say that I want to travel to Lake Fork, and that boat club has a marina there, has marinas that is affiliated with that boat club, you can pay so much money to rent different styles of boats, no matter where you're at in the United States. Could be the world, as far as I know. And so he likes to fish and I like to fish. I'm going to try to get with him to rent a bass style boat or a center console and go out and try to, in the brackish or the backwaters there, and try to catch a largemouth in Florida. That's my goal. I want to try to add Florida to my list this year because I've never caught a fish in Florida as far as largemouth bass. So that's my goal. So Fred, I'm 100% agree with you that something needs to be done in Ohio to change the catch rates. And I think that starts with stocking our lakes. I've never personally ever in my life witnessed DNR or ODNR dropping fish in any lake that I've ever fished unless it's trout. They will stock the absolute fire out of trout in these reservoirs like Lake Vesuvius, where I'm from here. They will absolutely stock the trout to the gills of this lake, knowing that these fish are just going to die. Trout in those types of lakes and those man-made fisheries like that with no not a whole lot of current. The water gets too hot. They're going to eventually belly up and die. Sure, it provides great fish feed for those big bass, and those fish that you see that come out of these trout ponds are absolutely getting monstrous. I agree with that. Like I'm okay with that. But I've never personally ever saw DNR do any kind of stocking of any kind of lake just because. Like, for example, if you go to Rocky Fork, there's tournaments on that thing every week, every day of the weekend, which is pretty much everywhere around here. But you think some of the taxpayer money that comes from all the fishing licenses and things would go back into promoting that and putting fish in. So a lot of the conservation I've seen that goes on in Ohio is Lake Erie only, or Lake Erie Basin only. Well, yeah, so it's walleye, it's smallmouth, it's largemouth up there. It's great. But down here, we don't get any of that love. And there's there's so many walleye in Lake Erie right now. It's crazy. They're doing a phenomenal job. I wish they would move that south a little bit. So I've never seen that. So I think that's something that, we as outdoorsmen should probably push for. But I don't know if it falls on deaf ears and how that happens and where to get started. Because in Ohio, the game wardens, as far as I know, are stationed one per county, and sometimes they go around multiple counties. And there's a small amount there. Maybe it's something that this is a pipe dream here, but maybe we use this show to try to get some stocking programs happening. That might be something very good for me to try to get a hold of people locally in my area to try to see what happens to get fish stocked in ponds or in lakes, not ponds, like, Vesuvius or, Paint Creek, Rocky Fork, these places that are in Ohio that don't get stocked. How do we get fish stocked in that? Is it money? If it's money, where are all of our taxpayer money's going? Is it manpower? Because I'm willing to go out and help do this thing. I don't care to help stock wherever. What's the holdup? What's the hold thing here? When will I be fishing the Ohio River again, man? Tomorrow, potentially, depending on the weather. It's supposed to rain. If it doesn't rain, I'm hitting it. They have a Wednesday night tournament out of the Little Sandy River. Probably get with Misty and I. She's off work and go down and fish that thing. If it's raining tomorrow, I will probably fish it on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. There's a big tournament on Saturday coming out of the Little Sandy ramp for Boy Scouts. I will not be fishing that. I don't feel confident on the river right now enough to spend $100. I might go down and donate some money anyway. I think it's a great cause, but I'm not going to be fishing it. Sunday, there's a Lewis County Lunkers tournament. Some great guys in there. They like to have fun. Some guys I've met. I'm going to fish there on Sunday, so that I'll be there. I'm definitely fishing a couple days this week, including Sunday. All right, guys. Again, we talked about the most common baits for me to be throwing. That's a Texas rig. You're going to be looking at a Ned rig and or a wacky rig, and then a shaky head is number 3. Number 4 and 5, we're going to come quick fire in a hurry here because I'm looking at 53 minutes right now on the clock, and we like to keep these under an hour. You see that? So number 4 is going to be a crankbait for me, and absolutely a Strike King KVD 1.5. My favorite are the rattling versions, and you can only get the rattling versions from Bass Pro, probably Cabela's now, but they're an exclusive bait that you cannot get from any other manufacturer, as far as I know, or any other supplier other than Bass Pro. And again, probably Cabela's now because they're owned by the same man. We all know who that is. KVD 1.5. Again, I had Daniel Denning from the Bait Den create some that's called Copper Crawl, my favorite color ever. I can tell you that now because they don't make them anymore. You're going to have to get somebody like Daniel to repaint them for you, but it's a phenomenal collar. That's going to be number 4 for sure. I'm with you, Fred, 100%. They all get beat to death, especially in this area in Southern Ohio things. And I was talking to Greg Drown at the tackle box today and Tyler Drown, and why in my area, I don't know why there's so many people that love to fish because we live in the armpit of America for bass fishing. But maybe it's because there's nothing else to do. Like everything else sucks even more than fishing. I don't know, but I'm so glad that I've got introduced to fishing as a whole very early in life. Last year, I guess it's been 2 years ago now. Josh and I bought 15 frozen themed rods, little small Snoopy rods, and went around giving them to kids at playgrounds and stuff, which was a really humbling experience to talk to people and give those things. And I do have a couple of Shimano rods that I'm keeping in my boat just for simple facts like that. If I see a kid out, I saw a kid 2 years ago. Matter of fact, Tyler Akers and his dad hooked the kid up. The kid had a stick with some line he had found and a bobber tied on it with his parents there trying to catch a fish. Tyler and his dad actually gave them a rod and reel, gave him some minnows and stuff, hooked him up. That's what it's all about. Mark, excellent question. Do I let the bait in the area dictate whether you fish an area? Yes and no. If I don't see bait, that doesn't mean I'm not going to fish it. If I do see bait, that does mean I'm definitely going to fish it. I think bait in an area definitely has a way to get my motivation up to throw baits that are going to imitate that, match the hatch type stuff. Swim baits. If we're talking about shad, we're talking about threadfin, we're talking about depending on what bait you're talking about, even bluegill, brim in this area, especially if bluegill is bedding, something about that, a giant basses can't hardly resist that. So if I see bait in the area, I'm absolutely going to fish that area. But I don't necessarily have to see bait to fish an area. I do use some things that I've been taught by pros watching TV and things, watching live stream videos and things, is that birds normally congregate areas where fish or bait are, because they're there. Those are the real professional fishermen, guys. They do it for a living. Literally, if birds aren't eating fish, especially around waterways, they're not living. So they're going to be getting around those things where bait fish are going to be, especially early in the mornings, man. If you drive by a point and you see a big great blue heron out there sitting on the end of that thing, getting ready to chomp down some fish, that point is going to be one I'm going to stop on. And the shad spawning things usually happen early in the morning. So I don't let it dictate whether I fish an area if I don't see bait. But if I do see bait, then I'm going to fish it. I'm going to try to match that hatch, the size of it. Shad, I'm going to throw a spinner bait, maybe an Alabama rig, small 3-inch swim bait. If it's bigger shad, like I'm seeing in Grayson and Yatesville right now, I might throw a 5-inch swim bait, something like a Key Tech. I think they're called Easy Shiners, really long and thin. Really like that swim bait. So Warren, drop shot is actually going to be a tie for 5 for me, because it's a new technique that I've only been fishing for less than 5-6 years. Weird to say, but I just didn't buy into it. I would much rather throw a Texas rig or a wacky rig. However, now it's definitely number 5 on my list, or that's going to be kind of set up for a drop shot, or depending on time of year, a topwater bait is going to be there for me. I feel like they catch more fish. I feel like that you're able to fish a topwater bait more consistently and more effectively over an area of water, especially with something like a spook or something like a pop-ar or a buzz bait, something that you can cover a lot of water. Cool thing about a buzz bait is when you think about that, it creates that little pathway on the water. It doesn't matter where you're fishing. It could be gin clear water, and it's going to create that little bubble trail so you can see exactly where you casted last time, so you can cover a lot more water. Number 5. Zane Boggs, what are some good fishing locations? And again, it all comes down to the situation of what species you're after. Some good bass fishing, and I use that term loosely, good in our area, but good bass fishing areas in here, not only in Ohio. I would say Grayson, if you want to catch the most fish as far as bass, Grayson. You're going to go out there and catch 8 to 10-inch fish, 12-inch fish all day long. Keepers, 15-inch plus, are going to be hard to come by. If you get into Yatesville is a pretty nice lake. Vesuvius is a really good place around here to catch a bass or two. There's some big ones in there too. Rocky Fork, Paint Creek for bass. If you're talking about like bluegill and things like that, pretty much any lake around here is going to have that, and you're going to have some fun. Catfishing. And this is going to come at a surprise, and a lot of people are going to think this is a weird answer. But if you want to go catch a catfish, hit a Pele Cup. There's numerous in our area. There's Bailey's Pay Lake, there's Shorty's Pay Lake. Sky Lake. There's a bunch of these places. It's going to cost you to get in there anywhere from $15 to $30. But if you have the right equipment and the fish are on, you have the potential to catch a fish of a lifetime. And is it cheating? In my opinion, yes and no. Are you going to catch a 100-pound catfish on the Ohio River? Probably not. But who knows? It's always fun. If you want to go catch a fish and have the opportunity to catch a monster, don't overlook a pay lake. Fred, appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for joining. I appreciate the support. Guys, we are at that magical 1 hour mark. You guys know that I am a 1 hour and done thing. I don't want this thing droning on. I feel like an hour is about what we could talk about, or about where we can get talk about fishing and keep it relevant. So we're 1 hour in right now. What you're going to see in my YouTube over the next few days, you're going to see a short video of me and Misty fishing this past weekend. Only one keeper. So it's a really short video. You'll see that tomorrow. Will be posted on my YouTube channel. But I'm going to do a video this week, Thursday or Friday, how to clean your live wells in your boat. So stay tuned with that. I'm going to show you guys how I do it, whether that's the right or wrong way. I'm going to show you how I do it. It's pretty good way, in my opinion. I mean, knock on wood here, I haven't lost any fish in my live well system since I've owned my boat, and I've cleaned it like this every year. So without further ado, guys, appreciate you guys sticking around for another episode of On Another Line Live, where we like to talk fishing and we like to have a good time doing it. If you guys would love to be on my show talking face-to-face virtually like this, if you have an iPhone or an Android and you want to talk fishing, get a hold of me. We would love to have you on here, talk some fishing. Maybe you guys can help answer some of the questions on here, and we will see what's up. Adam Barber, there you are, buddy. Glad to see you. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. David, thanks for joining in, man. I appreciate it. I'll let you guys know how I do. See you, Herb. I appreciate it. But we'll see you guys next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. That's going to be On Another Line Live every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Call all your fishing buddies and lie to them. Like, this guy can absolutely hammer them. Little white lies never hurt anybody. We like to have fun. Keep pushing for that 4,000 subscriber goal. Potentially looking at, depending on Shimano's involvement of this, giving away a Shimano or a G Loomis NRX rod, which is a $575 fishing rod, to get to that 4,000 subscriber mark. So that's coming up very soon. We'll see you guys next time. If you can, get out there and lean on them. We'll see you next time on Another Line.